a drink last night for that Lady Bird shot. I don't know if he remembered it, but yep. So that's Caliendo, huh?
I think oh.
Do you need this here, or you want this here? Here's
That's Mitch. That's Mitch's binoculars and his blueberries container.
Is that his son?
I think so, yeah. Al Pacino. They need this crowd to get them to a different place.
Oh, yes, they do.
Than they were during warm-ups.
And I'm seeing a lot of blue. A lot of blue. Are there fans above us, too?
Hmm?
Are there fans above us? No.
No.
Let's go, Mitchie. Let's go. Let's go, Bobby.
Yeah, be fun.
Let's go.
Hopefully.
Got an elbow, a broken thumb.
Oh, we lost mix minus. Oh, no, it's back.
Oh, no, no. Let's do it, Tuna. Big rings today, Tuna. His bushes.
Okay, gentlemen, welcome. Today's ceremony of flipping coin honors the memory of two young men whose lives were tragically cut short this summer. This coin features on one side the likeness of Mike Sadler from Michigan State and Sam Foltz from Nebraska. Michigan, it is your choice. When you give me your call, please indicate Sadler or Foltz.
Sadler.
Sadler. Sadler is the call. It is Sadler. You've won the toss. Defer. Michigan has won the toss and elected to defer. You want the ball. Which way do you want to kick? Okay, put your backs around that way, man.
As if losing 7 of the last 8 in this series were not enough motivation for Michigan. They had last season's bitter taste in their mouth, and we are ready for kickoff. Bob Wischusen alongside Brock Hewitt. Allison Williams down on the field. And Brock, this is what college football is all about.
Sign me up. You want offense, you want lots of points, go watch the Big 12 later today. You want some defense, you want some violence, you want some incredible emotion. Stay tuned for the next 3 hours.
Michigan won the toss, deferred to the second half. They'll put their defense on the field to start. R.J. Shelton deep to receive the opening kick. And it will come out to the 25-yard line. And just in case you forgot what this rivalry was all about, here it is.
Sometimes you get your little brother excited when you're playing basketball and stuff. You let him get the lead, and then you just come back and take it back.
Do you think of Michigan State as your little brother?
Yep.
But just remember, pride comes before the fall. So they want to mock us all they want to mock us. I'm telling them it's not over. So they can print all that crap all they want all over their locker room. It's not over. It'll never be over here. We'll be a coach here for a long time. It's not over. It's just starting. It's just starting.
Truer words were never spoken by Mark D'Antonio, as his team has won 7 of the last 8 meetings in this rivalry game. And they'll start with the football against the nation's, statistically speaking, best defense. And that defensive front stacks up L.J. Scott on first down. Now, we were wondering which quarterback would start, Brian Lewerke or Tyler O'Connor. Well, it is Tyler O'Connor that gets the start for the Spartans.
And Mark D'Antonio told us yesterday it was all about his ability to protect himself. If he could move, he's been battling a lower extremity injury. If he could move and protect himself, he was going to play ahead of the redshirt freshman. You see right there, Brian Lewerke, who started the last 2 games. I like this move. Rivalry game, 5th-year senior. He's stuck around in this program. It'll be his game today.
L.J. Scott. It'll be 3rd down and 8. Allison?
Well, guys, I talked to Mark D'Antonio right before we kicked things off, and he told me it would be Tyler O'Connor. The reason why he was moving around well during warm-ups, and Brock, you saw him as well. He didn't seem to be in any sort of pain. All they've said is that he had a lower leg injury, but he's not wearing any sort of brace or protective equipment at all. D'Antonio happy with what he saw, so he's going back to his redshirt senior.
Not happy with the first 2 plays, putting them in 3rd and 8, right into the teeth of the very best defense in college football, and right into their greatest strength. Just 12 third down conversions against in 7 games.
12 for 92 opponents against Michigan on 3rd down. They rush 4. O'Connor finds a man underneath. The 13th 3rd down conversion this season for an opponent. And it's L.J. Scott that moves the chains. A gain of 12.
One thing that will stand out to you on a college football Saturday with these 2 foes is how much it's about matchups. It's NFL-esque. It's creating my one-on-one, and you got to go out and win it. And there's not many advantages for Sparty today on the perimeter. But there is with L.J. Scott, and you see it right there. And that's one-on-one with Ben Gideon. That was 2-man defensively for Michigan, a one-on-one with the linebacker, and a very rare 3rd down conversion.
6 offensive linemen and 2 tight ends as the Spartans line up to play in a phone booth on 1st and 10. Big boy football. And an 8-yard gain by L.J. Scott, with Prescott Line, the fullback, helping to pave the way as Delano Hill came up to help on the stop.
It's pretty amazing what a first down can do, especially on 3rd and 8. And if I'm Michigan State today and I'm offensive coordinator Dave Warner, I'm staying in base personnel as much as I can, and I'm running right at Jabril Peppers. Big-time player. Top 5 on Mel Kiper's big board. Phenomenal athlete, but he's 205 pounds, playing strong side linebacker. And he's at his best in space, hitting creases, smacking quarterbacks in the face. Like that power run right at number 5.
Same formation, same result. Grinding out a first down. Michigan State across the 50. If you move the ball against this Michigan defense, you, at least in terms of what they've done under Jim Harbaugh, you're making news.
And great quarterbacks, and Jim was one. They made a living for a long time in the NFL. They know that to win and play championship level football, you got to play great defense. It's what he's done at every turn at San Francisco, with Stanford, and he's doing the same thing here at Michigan.
Off again to Scott. 6 plays, 6 touches for L.J. Scott. Mike McCray tripped him up after a gain of 2.
And I said to you guys last night, I love nothing more than watching tape as a crew. And we dig into these matchups and you try to find an advantage somewhere, especially in a game of this nature where teams huddle up, where there is some whiteboard that you get to drag your plays up against their plays. And the one advantage, the one matchup opportunity was your running backs. L.J. Scott's a good one. Gerald Holmes is a good one. Mondre London's a good one. Those 3 backs are so much better than their 2-5 record may indicate.
End around. R.J. Shelton gets a crease. Gets to the sideline. It's another Spartan first down.
Well, once again, it's base personnel. So you see Jabril Peppers up on the line of scrimmage in a base front and trying to get R.J., their most dynamic perimeter player, out into space. You fake that inside dive. And I'll tell you right now, I've not seen this in 4 or 5 games for Michigan. Only Colorado got them on their heels. That early 3rd and 8 conversion was critical to get some momentum here on this drive. And Michigan very stagnant defensively. Very little movement, very little stunts, very little pressure here in the opening series for them defensively.
8th play of this opening drive. Another straight ahead run. There goes L.J. Scott again. Right at the line to gain for another Michigan State first down, and without measurement, they say it's a 10-yard gain.
And here's the biggest key if you're going to run this power system, and you're going to see it from Michigan on the other side. It is this movement. You have got to create movement so your offensive linemen can pull around. And Michigan the last 3 weeks has been driving those offensive linemen into the backfield. They have been owning that point of attack. And Michigan State, conversely, has had some challenges against no matter who they play. That's tremendous movement to allow the youngster there, Higbee, the left guard, to pull around and open the lane.
They'll run it again with L.J. Scott. And Brock, oftentimes you will see teams in their game notes or in their media guides talk about the weights that players are able to bench and able to squat. And sometimes we just think that's teams kind of bragging about how strong their guys are. But this group up front for Michigan, you saw on tape, literally the way they play is directly related to those numbers and how strong they become.
Yeah, it's a power clean and a squat and a press for Don Brown's crew, and they roll 8 of them. Something they could not do a season ago defensively. An entire new defensive line can roll in and they don't miss a beat.
Another handoff. L.J. Scott inside the 10. Hurdles down to the 5. This is only the 7th time this season that a team has been in the red zone against this Michigan defense. L.J. Scott again. 2nd and goal from just inside the 5. And that time Jabril Peppers, who only plays 13 different positions for Michigan on both sides of the ball, was in the middle of the pile for the Wolverines.
And you see his sense of acceleration, and that's why he's able, at 205 pounds, little guy, to play that strong side linebacker. But this is what you want to do. You don't want to allow the great talents and athletes to go out and play in space, play in a phone booth. In fact, right below me here in our booth, ram it down their throats. I'm hearing the fans from Michigan State seeing something they've really not seen in a month and a half.
First time we see O'Connor in the shotgun. Little zone read. L.J. Scott has a lane. He's in the end zone. That's a Spartan touchdown.
Seven-minute, 2-second drive. One pass.
Was that a Mark D'Antonio touchdown drive testing your manhood or what?
Wow. Best player on the field for Michigan State has to have the best game of his career if you're going to take down number 2. And number 3 off to a pretty good start.
Welcome back to college football. You're watching the Big Ten on ESPN. Bob Wischusen alongside Brock Ewert. Allison Williams down on the field. And it is a cauldron here at Spartan Stadium, especially after a 7+ minute opening drive from Michigan State as they take the lead. And now number 2 about to get the football for the first time. Jabril Peppers, Jordan Lewis deep to receive a line drive kick. This will hop down to Peppers, scoops it up at the 5. And he's bottled up at the 20-yard line. Let's take a look back at our drive recap brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. A 12-play drive, Brock, 11 plays on the ground.
And this was the biggest of them. 3rd and 8, right into the teeth of what Michigan does best defensively. 3rd and extra long. They get the one-on-one in conversion. And then just the mix of inside power. One perimeter run there by R.J. Shelton. And we had a little tell yesterday. Dave Warner, offensive coordinator, I said to him, Dave, I don't know if it's just my eyes watching game tape, but I'm noticing an opportunity to get after Jabril Peppers. As good a player as he is, he's undersized. And he said to me, yeah, we've noticed that too. Jim's got phenomenal athletes, but we've got to run right at them as they did on that opening drive.
Play action for Wilton Speight on 1st down. Pump fake, he wants the big one. Looking for Drake Harris. And Harris had a step just overthrown. Well, Wilton Speight, he threw an interception on his first attempt this season against Hawaii. He's only thrown one more since.
And they're asking him to get on top of the football. He's a big man. He reminds me of Derek Anderson to a T. It's the number, it's the body type, the delivery. And they also said did Tim Drevno, his coordinator. He's the best deep ball passer in America. Well, he had a shot for a touchdown there on a double move that they win, and he overshoots it.
Right up the middle, a run for Davion Smith, dodging tacklers, breaking a tackle. What a run all the way out to about the 40-yard line, a gain of 20. And a Michigan first down.
I'm seeing the same stunts from Michigan State this season. That's their inside linebacker dog blitz. They've run it for 8 years here, 9 years, 10 years after D'Antonio. It's just they're not getting home. And that time it's Riley Bola, Chris Fry right in there running that stunt, and the safety as well. Missed tackle. Tremendous run there from Davion Smith.
Now it's Ty Isaac as the I-back. He takes the toss. He's got blockers out in front. A gain of 7 on first down for Ty Isaac, and our first opportunity to say hi to Chris Cobb.
At the Michigan 47-yard line. Second down. Ready to go.
All right, Chris. And good to see Chris Evans in there as the lone setback after he left in the concussion protocol last week in the Illinois game. Play action, though, for Wilton Speight. Rolls to his right, flips one, and he finds Devin Asiasi. And the freshman tight end has a first down. It was a violent hit that Chris Evans took last week against Illinois. Brock lost his helmet. It almost looked like his head bounced off the turf.
Yeah.
But able to shake it off and play in this huge rivalry game.
And
today.
he's a wonderful 1-2 punch. He's got a little more speed and quickness, home run hitting ability than Smith, but you'll see 4 different Wolverines carry the ball today at a minimum.
Jet sweep, Eddie McDoom. He's got to step down the sideline. Into the red zone goes Michigan, another true freshman. And you can hear the McDoom from the crowd here at Spartan Stadium. Plenty of Wolverine fans are here as well.
And hands on hips there of Grayson Miller. That's Kari Willis again. He's beaten on the double move early, and there's some injuries. This is a beat-up group defensively. Your starting safeties, your real difference makers. Demetrius Cox is out for the game. Monte Nicholson is not starting today as well. He is nicked up, and I would expect Jim Harbaugh and his crew to not feel any pity, but continue to attack those safeties as much as they can.
Empty backfield. Spade over the middle. He's got Amara Darbo. A gain of 8 down the 10-yard line, where it will be second down and 2.
When you talk about playing tall, you don't want to be so upright that you're unathletic. But when you're 6'6", Wilton Speight, early this season, he was sinking into a lot of his throws. 6'6" was becoming 6'2". Something that Jed Fish has really worked on. It stood out a week ago. His very best game is a Wolverine, as you see Peppers coming in the Wildcat package.
Davion Smith just behind Jabril Peppers. Hand off to Davion Smith. First and goal. How about the response by this Michigan offense, starting from their own 20-yard line, with the crowd going wild after a terrific opening drive by Michigan State, methodically marching down to the 3-yard line.
Well, it's what championship teams typically do. You know, we get into November here, that calendar will turn, and guys get beat up. And you're going to play quality opponents that know you're familiar with. You're going to take advantage, and Peppers stays in the game. And championship teams typically respond exactly as the Wolverines have on this drive.
Peppers on a straight keeper, turns the corner, at the pylon. A Michigan touchdown, and they're a point after away from the equalizer.
And when you watch the third best offense scoring-wise in college football, what you see is everybody contributes, not only in the amount of touches with 19 different guys carrying it. Beautiful play by Peppers to get right to the pylon. But Chesson right out in front of that play, wide receiver. That's a beautiful shot. He does his part. He seals that edge and gives Peppers, his buddy, the opportunity to show off that fantastic speed.
8 plays, 80 yards for Michigan, and we are tied at 7 in the rivalry game here in East Lansing.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world, and Buick, proud partner of the NCAA.
Since 1953, the Paul Bunyan Trophy has gone to the winner of Michigan State, the 64th time they have played for a really cool trophy. Stands 4 feet tall. It was donated by Michigan Governor G. Mennen Williams back in 1953. Michigan State entered the Big Ten. And entering the end zone was Jabril Peppers. And now he's about to go back out there with a Michigan defense that I'm sure will play a bit of a chip on its shoulder after they got steamrolled on that first drive by Michigan State.
I think you're going to see some movement, some stunts, some blitzes. I don't think they're going to just sit in their base defense and let Michigan State hammer it at them.
R.J. Shelton takes a knee. And we'll come out to the 25-yard line. Michigan State with the football when we return.
Yeah, just after the last touchdown, Mark Staten, their offensive line coach, said, that's how we punch him in the mouth. We're going to do it for 60 minutes. We're going to go out there and do it again and again and again. And he's all fired up.
Yep, good. Yep.
A terrific night last night as 30 Michigan and Michigan State students teamed up with Special Olympics athletes from Lansing and Ann Arbor for a flag football game, part of the Special Olympics Unified Sports Rivalry Series presented by ESPN. It showcases Special Olympics Unified Sports where people with and without intellectual disabilities play on the same team. It breaks down stereotypes, leads to a quick path of friendship and understanding. You can go to playunified.org to learn more.
Awesome. Awesome. We've had a chance to volunteer with the Special Olympics. We'll get a chance when they come to 2018 to Seattle to be a part of it. Can't wait.
Gerald Holmes now the tailback, drive number 2 for the Spartans. Play action for Tyler O'Connor. Steps up in the pocket, floats one high up the seam, intended for Josiah Price, and a very late flag is thrown. He was tied up, Jordan Lewis.
There is no foul for defensive pass interference. Second down.
It looked like the original call was defensive holding. They changed it to pass interference, and then maybe ruling that an uncatchable football.
That'd be the only reason, because you see the little tug there. This is a veteran group defensively now for Michigan. 10 seniors, Peppers going pro. And a little savvy move from Lewis to tug the jersey, but the ball sailing far and away.
False start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty. Made second down.
So now it's second down and 15 as Tyler Higbee costs his team 5 yards.
Mark D'Antonio knows he's got to have some semblance of balance. It's not going to be 11 runs to 1 pass on every single possession. I love that play pass on first down, but you miss, false start, you fall behind the sticks off schedule. Very difficult against this group defensively.
They want the screen, and it's not there. Diagnosed perfectly by the Wolverine defense. And Chris Wormley got pressure on Tyler O'Connor. Now it's third down and 15. And let's head down to Allison.
Yeah, not the showing Michigan State's offense was hoping here the second timeout. That first timeout, though, really happy with the physicality they showed up front against this very talented Michigan defense. And the offensive line coach, Mark Stanton, came over to his guys and he told them, that's the way we punch him in the mouth. And you have to do that for 60 minutes. We're going to go out there and do it again and again and again. Very fiery, like the way his guys went right at Michigan.
Hard to punch this defense in the mouth on third and 15. 4-man rush. Underneath, the completion to Price, but well short of the sticks. The ball ripped out, but they say he is down. So it will be a punt, and now a late flag is thrown. An altercation after the play was over.
Welcome to rivalry football. This is exactly what happens in moments like this, and I love what the referees did on that initial pass interference call, getting together. What did you see? And here, definitely down, and Hill comes in for the cheapie.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 44, 15-yard penalty for the end of the run, automatic first down. This is number 44's first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of the game.
And there's no doubt that Price is down. And you can see Michigan fighting and clawing and digging. It's actually Hill. That's not the penalty. It comes after. It's that shot right there.
So a free first down for Michigan State by penalty. And now they go back to the ground with Holmes. Taco Charlton, after a gain of 1.5 yards, was there to make the stop. Back to Chris. Well, Chris, we've got the same score here. Michigan was on the verge of forcing Michigan State to punt, but the penalty on third down and long gives Michigan State a first down and allows them to continue to shorten this game. End around. R.J. Shelton gets a block on the edge, and he's 1 yard shy of the first down. And it looks like a flag is thrown right about where R.J. Shelton turned the corner.
Holding. Offense, number 22. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Fullback Delton Williams called for the hold.
And once those hands get outside the frame, you're just going to get penalty called. I think it was actually inside. I think it was the wide receiver. To me, 88 Medeiros, much more than the fullback.
39-yard line. Second down.
You get out on that perimeter, and I like it. The inside and the outside punch. Like a pitcher that wants to pitch inside and outside. But when you run on that perimeter, especially against the speed of Michigan and their secondary defenders, you have got to keep your hands inside the frame.
A spot foul, so it's 2nd and 14. Here comes the blitz. O'Connor off his back foot. He was able to pick up 3 yards or so to Jamal Lyles. So once again, it will be 3rd down and long. Delano Hill was all over Jamal Lyles.
Conventional wisdom says you play a little bit of zone on 3rd and long, especially when you've given up a couple 3rd down conversions. But the beauty and the advantage that Michigan has defensively is they trust their guys on the perimeter immensely. They don't care what the situation is to play that press man coverage and to just batter a quarterback, to hit and harass. 24 sacks this season, 4th in the country. In these environments, Don Brown doesn't mind bringing a little heat every once in a while as well.
O'Connor hit as he throws. Somehow squeezes it to Josiah Price, who reaches the ball out, and he's got a 1st down. How about that? Tyler O'Connor took a shot from Ryan Glasgow and still was able to muscle the ball to the edge.
The conversation in East Lansing has been a challenging one this season. They're not used to losing. They lost 5 games the last 3 years combined. It's been the seniors that have felt a lot of that weight. Mark D'Antonio saying he wants this football field to be the sanctuary for these players. But man, did he want his seniors to show up, and that's a big-time play from 2 seniors that have been used to winning, and that's winning football again on 3rd down.
Looking for room and finding some is Gerald Holmes. It's a gain of 5. And a surprise change of the line of scrimmage. This offensive line for Michigan State has done a good job getting a push up front so far.
Well, look at the double team block right there in the middle between the right tackle, right guard. That's Machado and Allen, 2 of your better offensive linemen. And it is that initial push. If you're going to play power gap football, you have got to win when you've got a double team. They do. How about the patience of Holmes? Not just L.J. Scott that can tote the ball. These running backs know to have patience in this system and let it develop. But it's that initial push that's probably the biggest surprise in this 1st quarter.
Another carry by Holmes. He's about 3 yards shy of the 1st down as Maurice Hurst came through first for Michigan. And this should take us to the end of the 1st quarter with the Wolverines only having had 1 possession. That was a touchdown drive. But if your goal, if you're Michigan State, is to shorten the game, could they have done a better job of that in the 1st quarter?
No, they couldn't. The majority of it all on the ground until they needed their seniors to make plays in the passing game. We said this was going to be an NFL-esque game. That was an NFL-esque 1st quarter.
First drive of the game, capped by L.J. Scott from Michigan State. Jabril Peppers answered for Michigan. Tied at 7 after 1.
$75 gift cards will be awarded as part of your Raise Your Shield campaign. And Star fans, if you see something, say something. Text MSU PD or your message to 274-637. Please continue. Use 911 in case of emergency. Muscle Milk is the official protein requirement of the Michigan State Spartans. And we direct your attention out in your end zone. From Toledo, Ohio, road to the National Championship $1 million challenge. Kwame will attempt to throw the ball from 25 yards into the target bullseye. If he is successful, he will win $1 million. Kwame's joined on the field by MICH representatives John Pauley and Eric Gibson, and Meyer representatives Brian Murdy and Jerry Silver. So, Kwame, when you are ready, good luck and let it rip. It's short. Nice try, but we're not done yet. Because Kwame now will get a chance to attempt a 10-yard throw. If he is successful, he will win free groceries for a year at Meyer. And you are not going away empty-handed. On the end of MICH, you are still winning $500 in free groceries tonight. And make sure you visit MICHfootball.com for your chance to throw $1 million at MSU's National Championship game in Central Florida. And that's our friends at Acquisition Meyer for their support of Michigan State athletics.
In terms of time of possession, dominant first quarter for Michigan State. This is only the second possession of the football game offensively for the Spartans. Michigan has only had the ball once, and we're about to begin the second quarter. Tied at 7 with a big play here. 3rd down and 3 for the Spartans in plus territory. Bob Wischusen, Rock Ewart, Wilson Williams here at Spartan Stadium. Gerald Holmes moves the pile. And now an interesting decision for Mark D'Antonio. 4th down and 1 inside the 40-yard line. Too far to try a field goal, too close to punt. Do you go for it?
You want your defense at opening possession? Because I did. You go for it. Your chance to win this game is going to be possessing the ball and keeping it out of the hands of the 3rd best scoring offense in America.
Against the #1 total defense and #4 rushing defense in America. Gerald Holmes spins. Is he still alive? It looks like he might be short. That second effort almost got him to the line to gain, but it looks like Michigan got the stop. Jabril Peppers came up and just seemed to hold Gerald Holmes short.
And this is why you run at Jabril Peppers and not away from him, Bob.
Looks to be certain they're going to bring the chains out, but he looks to be at least a half, if not a full yard shy of the 1st down. So this will make it official, and it's not even close. Michigan gets the stop on downs.
And it's a big fella inside. It's Maurice Hurst, defensive tackle. That initial penetration that the Wolverines have had a hard time finding. And then Jabril Peppers shows you why he's capable of playing linebacker and why Don Brown loves him. It's not being run at. It's when you run away, that speed comes to life, and Peppers makes the play.
Tied at 7 after Michigan gets the stop on downs. Bob Wischusen and Brock Ewart, Allison Williams here in East Lansing. The point right now, not to look at us. That's not the interesting thing. The point is to look at the numbers that are about to scroll across the bottom of your screen. This is the challenge that Michigan State on offense, and every team that plays Michigan this year has to bow up to. This is some kind of defense.
They say great defense travels. Now let's see for 4 quarters today, because that's not necessarily been the case here for the first 16 minutes of action. Michigan has looked differently on the road than they have at home, where they've been more than dominant, where they've been suffocating, to the point I saw Pete Carroll this week, early in the week, and he said, you make sure you tell Jim Harbaugh that we're watching from afar, and what a job he has done defensively.
Well, the defense just got great field position for the offense. Deion Smith stopped at the line. Second effort, maybe a yard. Another opportunity to check in with Chris Cotter. Seven here in East Lansing. And second down and 9. Jabril Peppers back in to take the snap. An end around. McDoom has a step. Eddie McDoom with blockers in front. Gets to the sideline. Finally bumped out by the Spartans inside their 30-yard line.
Players, formations, plays. It's the ethos of the great play callers, especially at the NFL level. Get my players into a position to have success. McDoom's a freshman. He doesn't run the greatest comebacks yet or in cuts, but man, when he gets on the perimeter, is he ever dangerous. It's been fly sweeps most of the season. That time, the reverse action. And check out this formation.
Saw this last week on the first touchdown of the game for Michigan against Illinois. Spade off play action. Looks downfield. Hoists one for Jake Butt. Drops it in. He holds on. First and goal at the 1.
Can't throw it better than that, and that's the advantage of being a 6'6 quarterback. And I think why Jim Harbaugh is going to continue to attract that position that wants to play at the next level. That's why he's staying tall. You got pressure right in your face. And he may have missed the opening shot of the game on a double move, but he's been spot on since, and you can't throw it better. He had pressure coming right in his chest, but he trusts Jake Butt immensely, put tremendous air, dropped it, as you said, Bob, dropped it right over the top and allowed his All-American to finish.
Well, Don Willard, our referee, was buzzed by the replay booth, ruled down at the 2-yard line on a completion to Jake Butt. But the replay booth saw maybe that ball wiggle just enough that they want to take another look. Ruled a catch on the field. So there has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn that call. This might be the best look we get.
That's a little bobble. We had a game earlier this year where we had just a little bobble, and when you slow it down frame by frame, and you got the wonderful shots we do in our truck today, the pylon cam and the sky cam and everything else, I think that call stands.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
And I like that. And one of the points of emphasis is also to watch it in real speed. And Jake Butt knows it. That ball can hit the ground, and I think he largely controlled that all the way through the reception. Big time play, and I love the energy and fire out of these seniors. They should be. Haven't beaten this Michigan State team, Jake Butt, in his career. And he wants to badly. And this offense operating in the efficiency level they have all season long.
Khalid Hill. That is his 16th carry this season, and he has 8 touchdowns. A very late flag comes out of the pile after the play was whistled dead.
After after the play was over. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense number 4 for pulling an opponent off the pile. Penalized half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down. This is number 4's first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of the game.
Well, hopefully that gets number 4 going. We've not called his number. And Malik McDowell has to be a difference maker. And this also a point of emphasis you've seen at the NFL level as well. You cannot pull those players off the pile. And even though Cole responds, can't do it, Malik.
So Michigan gets the down back at the 1-yard line. The toss, Davion Smith. At the pylon. Looks like he danced inside it. That's a Michigan touchdown. 2 possessions for the Wolverines, 2 scores, and they've got the lead.
Nothing fancy. Want to run inside, want to run outside, want to run power, toss. 19 different Wolverines have carried the ball this year, and every one of them has done it effectively. Wonderful block out front. Khalid Hill saying, welcome to big-time Big Ten football.
14-7. Michigan takes the first punch on the road from Michigan State, and they've responded. Return with our AT&T Inside Access and Alex's great state race. Run in memory of Alex Powell, a former Michigan State student who passed away after a battle with cancer. 3rd year of the run. It's Michigan and Michigan State ROTC runners that leave the big house at 4:30 a.m. yesterday, and they go in shifts. They cover 64 miles and eventually arrive at Spartan Stadium, raising funds for the Resource Center for Persons with Disabilities. During Alex's time at Michigan State, he valued that resource center because it helped him manage his illness in school. He was a Michigan State student, but Alex was treated at Michigan, so we can have, Brock, one of these big rivalries on the field that's filled with a lot of good old-fashioned dislike from a football standpoint, but it's things like that that show you what college football and college sports can be. R.J. Shelton, returnable from inside the 2. Gets out to about the 25. Tonight, undefeated, number 3 Clemson, battling number 12 Florida State at 8 on ABC, presented by Walmart. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. One of the 7 unbeaten teams on the road. Yeah. We've got one here with Michigan. Can Clemson slow down Dalvin Cook?
Well, they have to. And one of the best running backs in America is going to have to carry it tonight, because I look at that matchup somewhat like this one today. Michigan's grown men. There are seniors all across the board, battle-tested, much like Clemson is. Florida State's going to play a lot of young people defensively, especially. I think you've seen some of the maturity of Michigan to withstand that early blow.
There's L.J. Scott. He was the workhorse on the first possession, and he breaks out of the pocket with the stiff arm. Pushed out by Delano Hill at midfield.
That's not something you've seen very often. That's a couple missed tackles. That's Ben Gideon, the middle linebacker. That's DeMonte Thomas. Both of them unblocked right on the edge. But Shelton beats them both.
And Michigan State wants to play with some tempo.
Shot play.
And now a look over from Tyler O'Connor.
And I think that's an opportunity to look at these safeties here. If you have a big play, a momentum play, an opportunity to come back and take a shot. But if the look isn't there, run it.
They run it again with Scott. Don't you get the feeling, Brock, that this drive in particular, vital now that Michigan State's down? You want to show that that first drive wasn't a fluke against a great defense with your scripted plays, that
right.
You can actually deal with adjustments and come out and do it again to arguably the best defense in college football.
There's a lot of hungry players. L.J. Scott says, feed me. Jabril Peppers wants to be fed. A lot of guys want to be spoon-fed today. But if Michigan State is going to do it, it's going to have to be up front and in this run game. And eventually, at some point, a play-action shot off of it. But typically only if you see that single safety. You get the two high safeties, you want to continue to try to run it.
Again, it's L.J. Scott. Again, he's got a brace. Inside the 30. Let's check in with Allison.
Well, guys, defensive coordinator for Michigan, Don Brown, addressed his defense as a whole, and then he got in the face of his two senior defensive ends, Taco Charlton and Chris Wormley, and he basically said, I need you two to take over this game and start kicking some tail out there and exerting your will a bit more. You can see they've been able to break a lot of runs out on that perimeter.
And Allison, you are spot on right there. You're seeing it exactly right. And that time it was Taco Charlton and the senior Price for Michigan State. A power run. You've got to win initially up front, and these two ends have not been held and contained the way they have this afternoon.
Play action for O'Connor. Floats one to the sideline. And that's out of bounds. Jamal Lyles was the closest to it for Michigan State.
And here's what we're talking about on that previous play right here. It's right on this edge. If you're going to play two safeties back here, then these guys got to set the edge defensively. And you're going to see advantage Michigan. That's a difficult one-on-one block. That's what NFL tight ends get paid a lot of money to do, to turn that defensive end. His job is to set the edge. Once again, you know, one of my favorite lines in football, ultimate team game still comes down to so many individual battles.
You also said run right at Jabril Peppers. He ended up underneath Tyler Higbee on that last play. Shelton brought down behind the line. There's an impact play by Ryan Glasgow, the former walk-on, one of three brothers. One already graduated, two on the team now to play for Michigan. All three walk-ons, and Glasgow a tackle for loss.
He sure does. And you're expecting, if you're Michigan State, with all that run right at them, for those Michigan State D linemen maybe to slow down just an inch and to not penetrate. But Glasgow does. He's unblocked, and he's able to get Shelton in the backfield, as you see Peppers be intended to.
So Jabril Peppers off the field for 3rd down and 16. A spot where you might want to just get into field goal range if you can, if you're Michigan State.
Well said.
O'Connor steps up in the pocket under some pressure. Tried to squeeze one to Felton Davis. Incomplete. This is a very difficult spot on the field to send your punt group out at the 34-yard line. But you may have no other choice.
Michigan will play it safe defensively, and one of the points of emphasis for O'Connor and D'Antonio was, could he protect himself? And Mark had to like his quarterback stepping up into the pocket, but very difficult tight coverage to throw into as they go for the field goal.
So they're going to send Michael Geiger out for a 52-yard field goal, which would be a career long. This is not what you would think would be inside his range. The senior has enough leg. He's got it.
seniors stepping up.
Number 3 in career points in Michigan State. 3 more on the board for the Spartans. 52 yards away for Geiger.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Valero, the power of the American dream, and Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy. ESPN College Football, brought to you by Valero, the power of the American dream, and Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Jalen Watts-Jackson. And basically the invention of the Surrender Cobra and
the psycho screen behind it.
Yes, that.
Everybody focuses on Surrender Cobra. You don't realize the psycho screen behind it. She was as good as he was.
What a way for a game to end at the Big House. And Michigan has lost 7 of 8 in this series. And they've lost 4 in a row here in Spartan Stadium. Haven't beaten the Spartans on the road since 2007, but that time they hold to a field goal attempt. Michael Geiger, only his 3rd career attempt of over 50 yards and a career-long 52-yarder. Kevin Cronin, the kickoff specialist, with some hang time. And Jordan Lewis on the back pedal takes a knee. Let's give you today's Aflac trivia question. Aflac. This is a great one. Can you name the 5 schools to have at least 1 player selected in the last 50 NFL drafts?
Wow. I guess there's no outlier.
No, they're household name schools, but there are some schools missing from the 5 that you would think would be your first guesses.
You know what's not missing? Execution here for Michigan offensively. Flawless in their 2 opening touchdown drives.
Davion Smith on first down, brought down behind the line. Ed Davis, who is just rounding back into form. Honorable mention All Big Ten back in 2014 as a junior, but tore his ACL just before last season began. Not only had to sit out, but was granted a 6th year by the NCAA. And he got the start today. Wilton Speight looking downfield. Hit as he throws and fires a strike to Amara Darboh. Let's go back to Chris Cotter. All right, Chris, thanks very much. After an NFL throw by Wilton Speight, it's a first down and a diamond formation. A handoff to Chris Evans. He's got speed with the stiff arm. The true freshman to midfield. Very close to another first down.
Well, you can check out our alternate angle Skycam coverage of today's game streaming live on Watch ESPN, brought to you by Microsoft Cloud. And if you're going to watch it, like I've been watching an awful lot, you're going to see Wilton Speight stand in there strong. NFL is right. NFL body. 6'6", 240, but more importantly, standing and delivering as you see him scan that field. Safeties first, into the run.
Blitz off the edge. Speight avoids. He's got a chance for a big play. Out in front. He's got Darboh inside the 10.
It breaks your will defensively when you've got 3 runners at the quarterback. It was Ed Davis earlier that could not get home. And here's the edge pressure, the corner blitz that equally looking like Big Ben Roethlisberger standing strong. And most importantly, when you're 6'6" and you can see over that entire field, you scan and you see Darboh working with you. I'll tell you what I love. I love his ability to drop it into that bucket, and that is, again, the advantage of being an awfully big quarterback.
Last year's hero, Jalen Watts-Jackson, was the player that missed on the blitz. Davion Smith to the 5-yard line where it will be 2nd down and goal. Dave Sherrard was there to bring him down.
And this will be the next step for Wilton Speight. He's going to say, don't put Peppers on the field. I can do this. I can keep it. He knows it. He actually ran 4.7 in high school. So you're looking at 6'6", 235, and you're not looking at a guy that is totally immobile back there. I think pretty reflective on that play that he extended for the deep shot down the field.
Speight off play action. Floats one into traffic. Incomplete. Intended for Davion Smith. As good as Michigan's defense is in the red zone, their offense is almost as good. They've got 31 touchdowns on 41 red zone trips so far this season. Makes this an enormous 3rd down midway through the 2nd quarter. Goes Speight. Incomplete. Intended for J.U. Chesson. Here comes the field goal group as Michigan State gets a red zone stop.
And that was a must. I mean, if you're Michigan State here, you just can't fall behind double digits. You just don't have an explosive offense. That stop allows you to continue to play with patience offensively. Wonderfully read there by Kari Willis, the safety. He studied the plays. He knew the scheme. He jumped the corner route, forced the incompletion.
Kenny Allen broke a slump, as you could see last week against Illinois. This only a 23-yarder. Right down the middle, and Michigan answers the field goal for Michigan State and pushes the lead back to 7.
About the NFL? Yeah, because every offensive assistant has NFL experience. Spite said it's why he loves the offense, and then we can talk about how Drevno, said it helps him in switching it up. Spite, yeah.
We are back with the answer to our Aflac trivia question. Aflac! Can you name the 5 schools that have at least one player selected in the last 50 consecutive NFL drafts? 2 of them on the field today. Michigan and Michigan State, Florida, Nebraska, and USC.
Wow. I'm a little surprised to not see Ohio State on that list.
As I said, there are definitely some names that immediately come to mind that are not part of that 5-team group. Oklahoma, Texas. Obviously, the Washington Huskies should be on that list. Obviously, no question. R.J. Shelton from the goal line. Good job by the Michigan coverage team to get him inside the 20-yard line. And a big Saturday rolls on. 3:30 Eastern with Northwestern taking on number 6 Ohio State. And then at 7, 7th-ranked Nebraska at Camp Randall to meet Wisconsin. Both games are on ESPN, also streaming live on the ESPN app. And watch ESPN. It really is our honor to kick off a triple header of Big Ten football today here on ESPN. And how important are all 3 of these games? We take a look at the Big Ten standings, and of course Michigan, Ohio State looming Thanksgiving weekend, but Nebraska
getting no love.
Boy, what a challenge for them. Big underdogs at Wisconsin. Great pursuit by the Michigan defense as L.J. Scott not only had nowhere to run but lost 3 yards, forced out by Mike McCray.
Well, and you know who it was? It was a true freshman. It was that defensive end. Sure, the rest of the buddies can come and corral the tackle, but it was Rashawn Gary Allison's point earlier that Don Brown was all over his guys and his defensive linemen to set the edge, and it took the #1 recruit in America to engage the blocker to push him back, and that allowed the pursuit to come and finish for a rare tackle for loss here in the first half.
Out of Paramus Catholic in New Jersey, where Jabril Peppers spent his last 2 years of high school. O'Connor wanted a shovel pass with a flag down, and he is brought down at the 11-yard line by McCray. We'll have to check the penalty marker, but Michigan diagnosed the shovel pass, and there was nowhere to go with the football. And the penalty is against Michigan State, immediately declined by Jim Harbaugh.
Illegal shift, offense, 2 men moving, prior snap did not reset. That penalty's declined. 3rd down.
That's a scary position to be in for a quarterback. You got the ball in your hands and there's nowhere to go, and 2 defenders just licking their chops to take their shot. And there's only so many times you can get in the third down. A beautiful shot here is R.J. Shelton trying to get on the perimeter, and he gets held up just enough. The timing breaks down. That's no man's land.
No opponent has had more than 4 third downs converted against this Michigan defense all season. Michigan State already with 2 here in the first half, but 3rd and 15 is a different deal. 4-man rush. Long throw, man-to-man coverage, incomplete, intended for Monty Medeiros. So now the Spartans will have to punt from deep in their own end as Jordan Lewis was running in coverage.
That's a man-to-man coverage on 3rd and 15. They don't care, and you can see a pretty good pop from O'Connor. That could have been called. That's definitely called at the NFL level. If this is an NFL game, there is no doubt that's called. Maurice Hurst may have a little talking to on the sideline. And this is where this kid is the most electric.
Jabril Peppers at his own 45-yard line, and now a flag thrown.
False start. Offense number 57. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
And this is what Mark D'Antonio was talking about with us yesterday. He said, we've been playing good football. I know we're 2-5, but we have had stretches in every one of these games. And typically in the first half where we've been good, we just have been awful. 30 points for, 84 against in the 4th quarter, running out of gas, hitting the wall.
Peppers, plenty of room for a return from his own 44. That's across the 50 into Michigan State territory. That last sequence, though, is where Michigan's defense changes games. They're #1 in FBS and 3 and outs. They're as good as any team in America at field position. And now you force a punt deep in your own end, plus territory. You start with the football. How much of a danger zone is this game in right now for Michigan State?
Huge, and they deferred, so they'll get the ball to start the second half. And what you get a sense in the field, you can watch it on tape all you want, but you see it in person, and they're just relentless. And that's what the elite teams are. That's what all the teams in the top 5, and Alabama is as well. You just can never relax. There's no gimmies. There's nothing easy. Everything is earned, and they've earned this #2 ranking. And I knew coming in they were good. Watching the tape, I knew they were elite. Watching them in person, they're living up to it, especially offensively.
Alabama idle this week, so you got to figure a lot of their fans right now might be watching this game to take a look at this Michigan defense to see if they really do stack up with the Tide.
And they don't. Let's be clear. Alabama's defense, nobody almost historically is stacking up with what they're doing, because not only are they playing just tremendously sound defense, they're doing what the great and the most elite have ever done, and that's take the ball away. And that would be, I guess, the one area for Michigan. You know, as this season evolves and they come down their stretch of the season, can they find more takeaways? 12 on the season. I think there's more in there to be had.
That's Chris Fry, slow to get up. Let's take another look and see how he got hurt. And could the replay booth possibly initiate a targeting call on that hit? That's Devin Bush coming in.
Yes.
And that looked like crown of the helmet, forcible contact to the head or neck area of a defenseless player, which could be, in the judgment of the officials, Chris Fry, because that's a blindside block, arguably, on a return.
The only challenge is defenseless, is he's running down to cover the kick and he's turning. That would be the only challenge, I think, to that analysis, Bob.
No buzz down. Spate under pressure. Does well to get the ball away just to avoid a sack. Demetrius Cooper all over Wilton Spate. And that is the strength of a 6'6", 240-plus pound quarterback. That Cooper is now injured, and he was not able to bring him down.
And we saw earlier, I mean, a shot right up the gut with Ed Davis, literally hitting Spate in the gut, could not bring him to the ground as well. And this is an area of just tremendous concern for Michigan State. They've had to move Malik McDowell, in fact, away from, I think, his strength, Bob, of playing inside to have to play outside defensive end because they've just not gotten production from that position.
So while Demetrius Cooper is tended to by the training staff, let's go back to Chris Cotter. And a very low scoring affair. That's not the score you would expect in a Big 12 matchup between two teams that are high octane offensively and go as fast as could be. Looks like Chris Fry is okay, as that headshot that he took on the punt return, he's shaking that off.
And I'll tell you what else you don't expect, especially if you're down on the field level and you look at William Spade at 6'6", 240 pounds. You don't expect elusive. And we saw Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson. He's not bad. He's never going to be a dual threat quarterback. But elusive for pocket guys is very different. As we learned from the great Tom Brady, who wore that helmet at one day. Elusive is avoiding sacks just like that. Negative 10-yard loss, because you have the ability to break tackles and get it out of your hands.
Jabril Peppers, though, in to take the direct snap. A little zone read. He's got room. Jabril Peppers spins inside the 35-yard line with a Michigan first down. That's a gain of 15.
And this group up front is just so defeated, just physically. They're just so beat up. And you could do this all game. If Jabril Peppers ran zone read and the Wildcat quarterback, I think they could do this on every single snap because there's enough options. And as Drevno said, heck, he could even throw it at times within this package. But this is a beat-up crew. You see 64 Clemens. He's a converted guard. Started the first game, 4 games this season, in fact, an offensive guard. And they're just having a hard time stopping the run.
Now it's Karan Higdon. Down to the 30-yard line with a gain of 3. Let's check in with Allison.
Well, Bob, Brock, it's interesting you guys just mentioned Tom Brady, because that is the film that Jed Fish, who works with quarterbacks, showed Wilton Speight this week. He always cuts up different NFL examples of things he needs to focus on, and the reason he showed him that film of Brady was just what you guys were talking about: movement in the pocket, having patience, knowing when and where to move, and then also getting that shoulder back to your target. So that was a big point of emphasis this week for Speight.
Oh, he's nailed it.
And now Shane Morris is in the game at quarterback.
Sweet.
The toss to J.U. Chesson. Morris out there paving the way, but up to the task that time is the defensive front led by Ed Davis for the Spartans. That's a loss of 1.5 yards, and it will be 3rd down and 9.
And kudos to Mike Tressel having his guys ready to go. Did so on 3rd down in the red zone. That's a sweep. That's the tendency, and they play it right.
What are you hoping to accomplish by bringing Morris in the game to run that play?
Well, you're just playing to his strength. But obviously that strength not good enough, and this is a must for Michigan State, and you can hear it from their fans here defensively.
Maybe a timeout called defensively by Mark D'Antonio from the sideline. Looked like there was some confusion in coverage for the Spartans, so we'll come back
Michigan
in
State
30
calls
seconds.
the first timeout of the half. It's a 30-second timeout.
Spartan Stadium. A reminder, your NFL Sunday begins tomorrow at 10 a.m. with NFL Insider Sunday Edition. The injury news, the fantasy updates, the early breaking stories you need, and then at 11, the new Sunday NFL Countdown crew takes you right up until kickoff. Both shows always streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
Well, Allison talked about it, the 88 years of NFL experience as a player or coach, and a lot of time in that huddle over there with that timeout for Jim Harbaugh, Tim Drevno to get together to look at those. That's an NFL call sheet right there. You can look at those Big 12 coaches, and they've got a little index card. Not these guys. And there is clearly a 3rd down nickel package for a situation just like this that they have repped and ready for. And to me, this is 4-down territory as long as you don't go backwards.
Only 1 wide out, 2 tight ends. Speight back to throw. Well protected. Fires a strike. Walling off his man was Amara Darboh. He's got the first down.
That's just so good. And Mark D'Antonio knows those are the little plays. Those are the plays that over the last 3 years they made. That's it. That's an in route. That's quarters coverage. They play their base defense. And over the years, when they've been so dominant, that safety's a half step quicker. And he's collisioning and forcing the punt or forcing the field goal. And they're just a half step late here this season defensively.
He also had Shalik Calhoun, Joel Heath, and Lawrence Thomas rushing the passer last season. All 3 now in the NFL. On first down, Spade finds a crosser. It's Chesson to the 16-yard line, down to Allison.
Talking about the NFL experience for this Michigan staff, every single offensive assistant coach has NFL coaching experience, including offensive coordinator Tim Drevno, who is with the 49ers. And he said when you're in the NFL and you see teams in your division twice a year, you really learn how to switch things up. And also it helps because he knows exactly what this offense should look like when it's at its peak. And then he can take that tape and show it to his team now for exactly what the plays should look like. It's really a huge benefit, they feel.
Back to Shane Morris, a quarterback, though. Jet sweep to Jabril Peppers. Out of bounds. At the 14, maybe the 13-yard line. And it looks to be a yard shy of the first down.
You asked me earlier why. Why do you bring Morris in? Why do you run that play? You also run plays at times to set a defense up. They know the tendency that it's been a perimeter run for Morris, and that time trying to get them to key on him, expecting him to go left. And you bring Peppers around right. Always stacking your plays. That's what the elite coordinators, the elite offenses typically do.
8th play of the drive, 3rd down and 1. Davion Smith, met, driven back. Chris Fry got there first. It will be 4th down. Does Jim Harbaugh manage the game like an NFL team here might? Take the 3, or do you go for it on 4th down?
I think he's going to trust and believe, or he may take this clock down here to consider and think through, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to get the ball to begin the second half, going to take this play clock all the way down and put their minds together once again to get to their best call.
For some reason, the play clock reset. Now the officials, I think, are going to grant Jim Harbaugh the timeout. He should have been able to take another couple of seconds off of the clock. As for some reason, the play clock was reset with still maybe 5 or 6 seconds, it looked like, on the play clock. So we'll step aside for 30 seconds and see if they adjust the clock when we come back.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
But you're dangerous, Maverick.
Time on the field with the officials was corrected. 1:05 to go in the first half, which is right where the play clock would have been at 1 when Jim Harbaugh wanted to call his timeout. For some reason, the play clock just resets.
And don't you short Jim Harbaugh a second. Don't you short him a half a yard last week.
That's the whole point of the strategy.
That's right.
4th down and 1, and it is the Michigan offense coming out to run a play on 4th and 1. Is this a hard count?
It could be. It's also in their greatest strength is the right side of their line. In these short yardage situations with Hill, with the big guy, you see Asiasi in there as well. I would be surprised if this is a run, that it's not behind that right side of the O-line.
4th down and 1. And now a timeout called by Mark D'Antonio.
Second charge, timeout of the half. Michigan State. It's a 30-second timeout.
So now Michigan State wants some time. That gives us an opportunity for another update with Chris Cotter. All right, Chris, thanks very much. So after timeouts by both teams, it is still 4th down and 1. Malik McDowell has been quiet. He not called his number much here in the first half.
And he's got to be a difference maker. He's the best player. He's top 10 on Kuiper's board. That last play, timeout, because Jake Butt was going to get into a one-on-one on the perimeter D'Antonio wanted no part of.
They hand it to Khalid Hill. He moves the pile. Michigan's got the first down.
Elite teams have tendencies, and they have tendencies because they execute them at a very high level. 8 rushing touchdowns for Hill. Every one of them has been between the center to right tackle. And no surprise to me whatsoever, that play ran right behind the 2 redshirt senior offensive linemen.
Michigan still has 2 timeouts. So the clock not a huge factor, even though it's under 1 minute. And another timeout will be called defensively by Michigan State.
Third and final charge, timeout at half. Michigan State.
And it doesn't look like Mark D'Antonio was happy to have to call that one.
No, and that's defensive coordinator Mike Tressel right there. And that's having some conversations. And unlike on the other side, where there's a tremendous amount of experience and depth within their scheme, Michigan State's got moving parts all over the place. On that defensive line and secondary, a linebacker, been devastated with injuries, but Mark D'Antonio knows this moment and the magnitude of it. With Michigan getting the ball to begin the second half, scoring on every possession thus far, and once again in scoring zone, the messages have to be either a takeaway, a field goal, but if this is 7, getting the ball to begin the second half, they're playing Top Gun danger zone in here earlier, it would be danger zone for Sparty.
Well, especially considering the defense that this Spartan offense is going to have to go to and go at the rest of the afternoon. That was why there was a part of me before 4th and 1 that was thinking a field goal there for Michigan. Not the worst result. You take a 2-score lead, arguably, to the locker room. You get the ball to start the 3rd quarter, and the strength of your team is you have arguably America's best defense.
Yep.
At least statistically to this point they are.
And against an offense that doesn't have perimeter weapons. You see how hard it is for every yard for Michigan State to churn those first downs offensively. Can ill afford to go down 14 going into half here.
You have to give me some credit as being the only broadcaster in America that would second guess a play call after it worked.
That's right. You are from Jersey.
Yes. Now Spade out of the shotgun. Has time. He's looking for the pylon. Incomplete. Flag down. Drake Harris, the intended receiver. He ran a corner route. Justin Lane, a true freshman, was there in coverage.
Kind of. He had to reach out because he wasn't. Because he got flat-footed like a freshman does, watching the play happening instead of reacting and playing the defense, and all he could do was grab.
Prior to the pass being thrown, holding, defense number 39. Penalize half the distance to the goal line, automatic first down.
No doubt about it. Little grab of the jersey by Justin Lane. And Jim Harbaugh got the exact flag that he was hoping for.
He who hesitates is lost. Those are the words of D coordinator Mike Tressel. In that moment of hesitation in doubt, puts Michigan at the 5-yard line.
Davion Smith up the middle. Reaches the ball out, pushes the pile into the end zone. That's a Michigan touchdown.
You can hear it now, can't you? Jimmy Harbaugh talking about this offense. And he'll always credit the players, and more importantly, he'll credit the execution. You're running right into, once again, a stunt that has been called to take that inside run away. But Smith able to shed the tackles, move the pile. You want speed, they got it. You want power, you have it. You want a quarterback that can stand tall and deliver, you got it. And thus you got 4 scores in 4 possessions.
And is there ever a better indicator of a championship team than a rivalry game on the road where the opposition goes right down the field and scores a touchdown to start the game? Think about Michigan. From that point on, they have outscored State 24-3, and they start the 3rd quarter with the football. So we talked about danger zone right now for Michigan State. I'm not sure how frisky they'll get with their play calling with 39 seconds to go in the half and no timeouts. But their defense hasn't gotten a stop yet.
Well, let me add one other thing as well. And you saw the shot there at Jim Harbaugh with his staff. And that is never celebrating what you just did. Right? His whole mantra is always ahead. Push it ahead. What's done is done. And this conversation is about this kickoff right here. And what do we want to do? And how do we want to play these final 39 seconds out? You just never satisfied. Right? It was earlier this year. It was Indiana, Ohio State we had in a close game. And Indiana was fighting tooth and nail. But they just took a little breath before half. Ohio State, 70-yard kickoff return. This guy does not take a breath, ever. And his team responds, and I think is reflected accordingly.
And again, complementary football, which is what they talk about in the NFL, probably more so than even in college. But Jabril Peppers with the short punt return, but into plus territory. What does your offense do with the short field, starting at the plus 48? 10 plays down the field, they score a touchdown. R.J. Shelton in the corner, inside the 5. Brought down at about the 28-yard line with 33 seconds to go in the half. Well, this college football season, you can stream every game live on the ESPN app and on Watch ESPN. Just download the app or visit watchespn.com today.
And you can't be foolish here. You can't just say, well, we don't have timeouts, 33 seconds. Let me just, chuck it into coverage and make a play. There are too many game changers and playmakers in the back end of this secondary for Michigan as well.
O'Connor will throw. And he's going to hoist one up. And it's going to be intercepted. Jordan Lewis picks it off. 27 seconds to go. 2 timeouts for Michigan. Why, if you're Michigan State?
I hope you're not asking me that question. Because I just told you you can't do that.
What are the percentages here for Michigan State, in spite of the fact that you're down 14? I mean, does this show a sense of desperation, just hoisting one up?
Sure. Well, and you also get blasted. Taco Charlton does a wonderful spin cycle move, the defensive end, and he puts his helmet right into the chest of O'Connor, forces that throw. But this is what you could not do down 14. But this is what, this. We see this. This is what elite competition does, what Alabama does. Right? They just start to break your will, and ultimately you do get frustrated because it is so difficult to play against them.
Jordan Lewis was a semifinalist for the Thorpe Award last season, as we saw 7 career interceptions. So Wilton Speight with timeouts and field position. An easy pitch and catch to Darboh to the 40-yard line. And Jim Harbaugh wants to use one of those timeouts now before the clock starts again after the first down.
We talk about this all the time, especially during the breaks up here. And you and I talking football and game management. And the advantage of NFL guys and the 6 NFL coaches right now, or the 6 coaches collegiately, who have NFL experience. Half of them are in the top 8. Right? They understand matchups and scheme, but beyond that, just I think also these situational football.
Kenny Allen's career long is 47 yards, so even if you're just thinking about a field goal, one more first down and you're in field goal range. Still with a timeout, still with 22 seconds. A field goal, of course, makes it a 3-possession lead, and Michigan, as we said, starts the 3rd quarter with the football. Can certainly understand the aggressive mindset, down 2 touchdowns, but play the percentages.
Yep.
With under 40 seconds and no timeouts.
Or if you're under duress, you just throw it away. Okay, Taco Charlton won, and I'm sitting in there strong, but I got to just sail this one into the 9th row.
Blitz coming for Michigan State. Wilton Speight. He throws a jump ball down towards the end zone. Batted around and incomplete. Chesson had a chance. Drake Harris had a chance. Now 15 seconds to go.
And for the first time, you see Speight. He's taken a bunch of these shots.
That was Andrew Dowell that came through on the blitz. You drew the Ben Roethlisberger comparison earlier. This is NFL quarterbacking. When you stand in there and you know you're going to get hit like that.
And you can still put it 55 yards down the field into the end zone, give your guys an opportunity. Pretty rare.
Another blitz from Michigan State. Picked up, Speight over the middle, running to the 20-yard line is Darboh. 9 seconds to go. And the final timeout used by Michigan.
And that's the cleats. Walked into the stadium with cleats.
What's a natural surface?
And why Harbaugh's going to Look at him. That headset can't slow me down.
I'll tell you, the poor guy that's got to run behind him holding the headset wire, that guy has to be in shape as well. He must train during the week.
Well, here's situational football 101, and look at the coach right in the middle of it, reminding all of the guys. Okay, his quarterback can't take a sack. His guys, if you catch it, you know, short of the sticks, you're dead. So this throw's got to go beyond the sticks, got to go into the end zone, and you have got to understand with 9 seconds to salvage that field goal opportunity.
With no timeouts, why not kick the field goal right here?
You could, but you like your matchups outside, and you're going to give your veteran, redshirt senior wide receivers, Jake Butt, you're going to give them an opportunity to take a shot into the end zone.
So that actually, if the ball does travel to the end zone, gives Michigan State a chance to make a play.
Yep.
As their defense has not forced a punt yet. No timeouts for Michigan.
This is a quarterback. You remind those guys up front, too, to make sure they block the blitz.
Here comes the blitz again. There's the shot to the end zone. Diving attempt by Darboh. Flag out. He ran past Tyson Smith.
That's a heady play by Tyson.
Now there's only 4 seconds to go.
Pass interference. Defense number 15. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
You may only get 1 snap now. Do you use that for a shot at the end zone? No, here comes the field goal group.
And this is actually smart situational football. If it's close or you're beat at all, you grab, you tackle, you do what you've got to do. 5 seconds off the clock, no timeouts. And they still forced in the kick in the field goal.
So Allen made from 23. This one also from 23 yards out to try and add 3 more for the Wolverines before halftime. He's got it. So the interception thrown by Tyler O'Connor costs Michigan State 3 more before halftime. The largest lead of this series at the break for Michigan since 2006. Let's go back to Chris Cotter. It's time for the Lexus halftime report.
Institutions of higher education. Today, the marching band titled Theory 101.
Yep.
Music theory.
We'll grab you, Coach. Let me know when you guys are ready.
Western music, from Bach to Beyonce, is based on a series of just 4.
Coach D'Antonio, take me inside the decision to sorry. Okay. Coach D'Antonio, take me inside the decision to throw a deep ball there at the end of the half.
Well, actually, we had a screen called, and the ball, and the quarterback checked the cover.